The next control I want to talk about is the grid. And to demonstrate the grid, I'd like to do it on a blank canvas. So what we can do is multi-select the different controls we currently have on our screen by holding Control and the trash can. You will get a warning notifying you that multiple controls are selected and will be deleted. Let's grab a grid and bring it onto our screen. As you've likely noticed with many of the controls, there is a ton of versatility with the grid. We can drag it to be as large or as small as we want it. For this example, I want to make it the full size of my screen. Now, in future Canary Academy lessons, we will dive deeper into the grid, but for this tutorial, I want to mainly focus on columns and column width. Under our properties, we currently have it set to 3, which is the default. This can be adjusted. Let's make this a 4-column grid. Right now, each of the 4 columns is being given the same amount of space on the grid, but that can be altered in the column width field. Maybe we know there's going to be a piece of information on the grid that we want to highlight, and we want to allocate more space in that particular column. So we could enter in a higher percentage for that column. Let's say column 4, we want to make 60% of the grid. The other columns will automatically evenly distribute the remaining space. To fill a grid, all I need to do is drag and drop other controls onto the grid. So let's start with a label and a value box. Source it to a tag. We'll use the same temperature tag that we've been using. Let's add a donut gauge. Into the 4th column, let's grab a spark chart. The controls I added to the grid all function the same way you would expect. So let's add something for our label. And I also want to adjust the max interval for our donut gauge. Now, if I look at the breadcrumb trail on the bottom of my screen and go to Grid Row and select Control V, it automatically fills in the next row on the grid. This makes it easy to quickly build out your grid. You can also assign multiple controls to a single tag at once. If we've built an application that's filled with controls and we don't have as much space on the screen for the grid, we can make it smaller, and we will automatically pick up a scroll bar on the right. Grids are very useful in building out applications, but not every control can be placed inside of a grid. For example, a grid cannot be placed inside of another grid, and trend graphs, asset templates, and panels cannot be placed in a grid.